friends of Prince William are not happy and they've hit back overnight over so-called outrageous allegations made in a new bombshell royal book by the author Omid Scobie. Well, royal editor Russell Myers joins us. This book has caused a lot of controversy already, but does it actually tell us anything that we don't already know?
Well, morning, Lorraine. Well, it's interesting because we've had a few days of leaks, a couple of serialisations in the US and in France, and it's when you boil down to actually what is fact from fiction is what is causing the stir. And certainly friends of Prince William have said overnight that this is conspiracy theories drummed up as fact and not what all it appears should be taken as fact. So I think what Omid Scobie is trying to present here is that the royals are under attack. The monarchy itself as an institution is really, really on the rocks. And certainly after the Harry and Meghan saga, they're all struggling to sort of find their place in the world.
They're not happy about this at all. And normally they don't comment, but, you know, friends have commented, particularly about the suggestions that all is not well between Prince William and his dad. And also, he really has a go at the Princess of Wales, at Catherine.
Well, he does. I mean, this book really sort of targets the main players, as it were, and not only sort of boiling down to the relationships. Of course, we know the sort of fracturedness of the relationships between William and his brother and Harry and his father, and some possibly green shoots of that relationship over the last few days with the call coming in to the King on his birthday. However, you know, it's sort of when you look at the main players, as Omid Scobie tries to do, and tries to sort of pick them apart, you try to get this sort of soap opera-esque scenario going on that everybody's vying for position and you know, nobody is happy with their lot and not being one of the team players, which incidentally Omid Scobie appears to paint Harry and Meghan as sort of the victims in all of this. I'm not too sure how much we can believe of that sort of aspect of it, but it is interesting reading.
Well, this is the thing. He is obviously, in some ways, I mean, shall we say that he is very sympathetic towards Meghan and Harry. He wrote the book about them and he did all of that. So, you know, you have to take that into account as well, I guess. But they come out of it, I would assume, very well in this book.
Well, they do. I mean, certainly they are. Yeah, Omid Scobie wrote Finding Freedom. He co-authored that. He doesn't like the sort of monkey as the cheerleader, the Sussex's cheerleader. He certainly has had an association with them in the past. But an interview with the Sunday Times, he was sort of hitting back at that and saying, listen, he's spoken to people on the outside looking in, and that's why Harry and Meghan have got a raw deal. But let me just sort of break down some of the things for you, which I found a bit fanciful, because he's discussing how the fact that Kate and Meghan were both told to dress like Diana so they could sort of have a bit of her star quality rub off on them, and even that Harry and William were consulted on such manners. And I think that this is sort of bordering on the fanciful, because of course fashion items and fashion trends come back into fashion by their very nature. I can't imagine there would be a situation where the two boys would have had that very bizarre conversation about how you'd like your wives to dress like your mothers. So take some of this with a pinch of salt, but I do think it's interesting about the fractiousness of the relationship. And perhaps, you know, when you're looking into the relationships between King Charles and Prince William, is Charles the transitional king? Is William vying for the top spot already? It's all a bit Game of Thrones, isn't it?
It is a bit, to be fair. It's all very, very strange. I mean, judging from what's going on here, and it's been serialised and we're talking about it, so frankly, all the good bits are, you don't actually need to buy it if you don't want to. It's an interesting one, though, isn't it? And judging from what he says, there's no way that they're going to be building bridges anytime soon. I mean, it would be lovely, especially at Christmas, if they could all be together, but it's not looking likely.
Well, I'm not sure, you know, there is a situation that may occur, because let's for example, let's say that the Sussexes have been sending their videos of the two children wishing their grandpa happy birthday, and Charles actually wants to speak to his son once more. And the Waleses end up spending Christmas at the Middletons. There could be a situation where Harry and Meghan are invited back to Sandringham, but I'm sure, as we are all well versed in it now, we know that there is an awful lot of fractiousness between the two camps, whether the King and William are willing to forgive and forget. I'm sure that Charles is probably the more willing of the two in order to welcome Harry and Meghan back into the camp. So Not too sure they're going to be carving the turkey with them this year, but, you know, there's still time for some sort of mending of relationships, I'm sure.
I really hope so, apart from the fact that, you know, there's 2 little kids there that want to see their extended family. Of course they do. Because otherwise, you know, they don't have very much family, which is a great shame. Prince Andrew, moving on to other things. He's going to be the focus, though, of not 1, but 2 new TV dramas. And again, this is going to be very awkward and embarrassing for the whole royal family.
Well, it is, just as you thought that this had all gone away. I mean, it's certainly not disappearing anytime soon. But the battle of the blockbusters, Netflix and Amazon going toe-to-toe, you know, big stars like Rufus Sewell, Gillian Anderson. We've got Ruth Wilson and Michael Sheen in the other production. And this is going to be very, very interesting to see who recreates that incredible toe-curling interview with the Duke of York best. I'm going to be tuning into both of them, that's for sure.
Thank you. Very, very much indeed. Good to see you. And of course, as we always do, we always contact Buckingham Palace and people representing Harry and Meghan in response to all of those allegations. Not heard back yet, but we live in hope.